Hello and welcome to GBNews YouTube. I'm Miriam Cates and today we're discussing the impact of Labour's attempt to take full control of our schools. Now on Wednesday, all eyes were on Parliament as MPs debated Labour's controversial Children's Wellbeing and Schools Bill. This piece of legislation represents perhaps the most appalling act of educational vandalism ever inflicted on Britain's schools. It seeks to undo years of successful reforms that saw English students climb world rankings in academic performance. Under previous governments, we witnessed the introduction of free schools and the expansion of academies. These changes gave more autonomy to head teachers and more choice to parents. But the Schools Bill threatens to reverse all of this progress, dragging our education system back to the days of local authority control and top-down curriculum mandates. The extent of Labour's desire to micromanage our schools is evident in the detail of the bill. For instance, it would make it illegal for schools to require children to own more than 3 pieces of branded uniform, forcing thousands of schools to overhaul their entire uniform policy. But it doesn't stop there. Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson is undertaking a curriculum review led by an academic whose expertise is in gender equity. Parents with children in the state school system should be wary. There's a real risk that education could be replaced with indoctrination. The unspoken but very clear intention of Labour's package of reforms is not to drive up standards, but to complete the march of left progressivism through our schools, decolonising the curriculum and removing all remaining elements of traditional education. The unnecessarily mean act of removing funding for Latin teaching in state schools midway through the school year is a sign of what's to come. Now, I'm not by nature a pessimist, but it's really hard to escape the conclusion that our children's futures will be poorer as a result of Labour's educational vandalism. Our nation will be poorer too, not just financially, but culturally and morally. At an individual level, education functions as a tool to equip children with the knowledge and the skills and the qualifications that they need to get a job and to contribute to the economy and community. But at a societal level, education is the vehicle through which we transfer our collective knowledge, our history, and our national culture from one generation to another. Passing on knowledge is not like passing on material wealth. Each generation has to learn it for themselves, or it's going to be lost forever. The passing on of knowledge and culture is the act of building civilization. Now, both progressives and conservatives agree that the purpose of education is to transfer knowledge and ideas and culture to children. The disagreement lies in the selection of what knowledge and which particular ideas should be included in the curriculum. Why, ask progressives, should we teach old knowledge and old ideas and a classical canon of literature rather than modern values and contemporary literature? Why should children learn about the Romans or Shakespeare when they can be taught about mindfulness and structural racism instead? The Conservatives' answer is that we must teach our children the knowledge and ideas that have stood the test of time. Every generation has its own ideological fads, poor quality literature, and pedagogical ideas that turn out to be foolish. The knowledge and ideas that survive are those that become the enduring treasures that we teach our children. Of course, the curriculum should be updated when new discoveries are made. But it's both absurd and arrogant to think that thought experiments carried out yesterday, such as the idea that diversity is our strength or that gender is fluid, are more worthwhile than the founding ideas of Western civilization and the tried and tested methods of teaching science, maths and language. Even before Labour's reforms, we can see the results of this progressive ideology in our schools. Just 9% of young women have a positive view of Sir Winston Churchill. Once important knowledge about our history, great works of literature, art and music have been lost from our school curriculum, they may be lost forever. So we must ask ourselves, why is the left so keen to control what's taught in schools, even at the cost of educational standards? The answer, I believe, is control. Compulsory state education has become the left's most effective tool for social engineering. By steadily eroding parents' rights to decide what, where and by whom their children are taught, it becomes easier to indoctrinate the young with extreme ideas about race, gender, history and economics, views that most parents and most people do not support. The thinking seems to be that once children have been brainwashed, the left will have lifelong acolytes. This agenda of total control is why the government is so intent on forcing independent schools into financial failure through the introduction of VAT on education. So sadly, we must brace ourselves for the potential destruction of many of the things that are good about English education. While economic fortunes can rise and fall, the erosion of centuries of educational excellence is not something we can easily recover from. So our task as conservative-minded people must be to establish a bridgehead, a potentially small but resilient collection of schools that can hold out and continue to make the case for rigorous education until such a time as the state sector might be restored once more. Independent schools free from state control have the potential to be such a bridgehead, but they are far too expensive for the vast majority of parents, and Labour is seeking, of course, to force as many of them as possible to close. But there may be another way of preserving the best of English education for future generations. The Classical Schools Network, though still in its infancy, is setting up a network of low-cost, affordable, independent schools, first in Cardiff and central London, that will educate children through an ordered exploration of the good, the true and the beautiful, all the things that Western civilization was founded upon. The King Alfred School in Dudley has been established along similar lines, and I visited it last year, and I was absolutely astounded at the knowledge and the ability of even very small children. It's amazing what can be achieved when we have high expectations of children and teach them in evidence-based ways. Now, if this network is successful, if more schools can be established, then perhaps we can preserve a model of good schooling from which, in time, our whole education system might be restored. As a mother and a former teacher, it breaks my heart to see our children robbed of the opportunity to master the essential skills and to discover time-honoured truths and the best of our culture. For some time to come, the left will have a firm grip on our schools, but the time will come to rebuild. And so we must do whatever we can now to preserve the precious building blocks of good education. Thanks for watching GB News YouTube. This is Miriam Cates. Don't forget to subscribe for more originals content.
I used to have to use the razor that my ex-girlfriend used to shave her legs. It scratched me and it made me feel weird. But fear not, because Manscaped is back with a game changer. This isn't just any old shaver. We're talking about the Chairman Pro Electric Foil Shaver with two interchangeable skin-safe blade heads. One for that baby smooth look and another when you want to keep it a bit rugged. Get this, it's waterproof. You can use it in the shower, by the pool, or even while scuba diving if that's your thing. This beauty runs for 75 minutes on a single charge. That's enough time to shave your face, your mate's face, and still have juice left over for touch-ups. You'll also get their Power Shave Gel for a proper wet shave experience, and a face shave soother to keep your mug looking fresh and irritation-free. It's like having a barber in your bathroom, minus the awkward small talk. Click the link in the description and use the code GBN for a whopping 20% off and free shipping with the code GBN at manscaped.com. Join the 11 million blokes worldwide who trust Manscaped. Your face will thank you, and so will your wallet.